In this video, I'm going to show you guys a live closing call of me closing an $8,800 deal, overcoming a bunch of objections, a lot of fear. I'm going to show you guys literally everything, my thought process, why I'm asking the questions that I'm asking, how I close the deal, how I overcome objections, all that stuff. So it's going to be extremely valuable, regardless if you're a complete beginner and you're trying to get into remote high ticket sales and land your first sales role. You're gonna learn a lot from this, like hearing how I speak, how I handle objections, how I carry myself on the call, all that stuff. And also, if you're already in remote high ticket sales, you're already closer, you want to scale up to like 10, 15K per month commissions. It's also gonna be valuable to learn how to actually lead people on calls, how to handle objections, how to pre-handle objections in the discovery, all that stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it straight away. Just to give you some context here before we dive in, I'm going to show you guys from about halfway into the question asking part of the call. We call it discovery. Basically, in the beginning of the call, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be asking people questions to figure out their current situation. So on this call, basically, I was talking with this pretty young guy. He had big goals of becoming an entrepreneur. He wanted to make a lot of money online. He didn't want to work like the traditional 9 to 5 and things like that. And we figured out that his goals are doing those things. But right now he's working in a more traditional job. I'm not going to share like exactly his situation just for like privacy's sake. But we figured out pretty quickly that he has these big goals, but he hasn't actually taken action towards achieving them. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how I handle this, because this is a very typical objection. And this guy had a bunch of fear. He was extremely scared towards taking action. So I had to kind of work through that throughout this discovery part here of asking questions. And then also at the end to be able to close this deal for $8,800. So let's start here. I'm going to show you guys, this was a couple of months ago. So I'm going to show you guys exactly the questions that I asked here and why I asked them as well. I'm not talking about like, I mean, like in general, in terms of like having more income, having something on the side, to do remote, like how long have you wanted to do that, like overall? Has it been just since you saw the video, or has it been longer than that you've been wanting to do that?
Oh, I mean, of course, it's been longer than that. So
right now, quick thing here is we're trying to figure out basically like how long he's been wanting to make this change for. And the reason why we're doing that is to then be able to figure out what has he done, like how far has he actually taken action. Like, because my biggest guess at this point, just because I've taken so many calls, is that this guy, okay, he has these big goals, he's been wanting to do them for a long time. He probably has fear holding them back from actually taking action, And if that's the case, I want to uncover that as soon as possible, because if I don't uncover the fear and overcome his fear of taking action at this point, it's going to come back up here at the end. It's going to be fear holding him back from taking action to do this program, So let's keep going here.
I probably wanted to do something like this for over 5 years, but I just haven't, really stepped into the opportunity. I've been kind of putting it off and just watching from a distance. So that's the main reason I hopped on the phone call today. Like, I didn't really want to hop on the phone call, but I did it anyway because I wanted to make sure that I take that step just to make sure that I was learning about this new opportunity. But
yeah. So he's been wanting to make change for 5 years. He's pretty self-aware as well, which is good, because like he's aware of the fact that he hasn't actually taken action for those 5 years. And now it's very, very obvious for me, like, okay, next thing we need to dive into is like, why has this guy been wanting to make change for 5 years but not taking action? And this is one of the biggest kind of lessons I can share with you guys from being a high-performing closer and making over 10K a month consistently as a closer, is that you need to be willing to challenge people. People go around all the time in their lives. They tell themselves that I want to achieve X, Y, and Z. I'm going to be an entrepreneur, all that stuff. But they never actually break out their patterns to take action on those goals. And that's why people are stuck, This guy's been wanting to make change for 5 years. He hasn't taken action. It's my job on this call to actually get him to draw a line in the sand, finally step up and achieve the goals that he has for himself. And that's also what I love about sales, because you have opportunity to be on a call with someone, especially if you're in high ticket remote sales, be on a Zoom call with someone, talk with them for maybe an hour or so, and literally change their entire way of thinking and completely change their life by getting them to make a decision, So we'll get into that stuff later, and I'll show you guys how I actually close the deal. But just like getting that kind of mindset right now, like realizing that this guy needs to be challenged, and that's what I'm going to be doing moving forward now. So let's check it out.
Yeah, I've been wanting to learn. I've been wanting to create a new income, new side source of income for like over the past 5 years. I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, why not? What I asked now is I asked him like, what have you, like I asked him if he's tried anything so far. Like, have you taken action on anything to get there so far? Let's hop back here and I'll show you guys exactly what I asked.
The past 5 years.
Have you tried anything so far?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. I guess I just haven't. I haven't taken action, I guess, to just do that stuff. I don't know.
Why do you think you haven't taken action on it?
I think maybe it's like a
Another big thing here that I want you guys to pick up on. This is a pretty small thing, but it's very, very important for you to get to a high level as a closer and as a salesperson in general. Is when he gives vague answers. When he's like, "Yeah, I haven't really taken action." Really be very, very aware of the fact that he didn't answer my question. I asked him like, "Why haven't you taken action?" And he asked his answer was like, "I haven't taken action." That's not the answer to my question, you know. So I'm not saying this that you should have this like crazy attitude on your calls and be like this fucking like crazy person just like beating people up. Obviously, don't do that. But what I'm saying is you need to be aware of the fact that when you're asking questions on your sales calls, you're not just asking the question just to ask the question and then move on. You're asking the question to get the proper response that you need to get, and then you move on. So that's what I'm doing here. Like I asked a question, he didn't actually give me the response that I wanted, what I needed to move on in the call. So I stayed there. I re-asked the same question until he actually gave me a proper response because I want to figure out why hasn't this guy taken action? Like what's been holding him back? And I'm not going to move on until I get that.
self-belief thing maybe, but at the same time it's like, let me think.
There we go. I re-asked the question, and now he's starting to think. You know, he's actually like taking a step back and like talking a bit slower, thinking for himself, like, why haven't I taken action? You know, and basically what he's telling me is like self-belief, fear that's been holding him back. That's great because then we can actually handle that. So basically, what I do next now is we dive into the fear and why he needs to overcome that.
I think I just get caught up in my work, like what I'm doing at the moment, and I don't find time to like put my time and energy and skills into something else because I just sometimes I don't feel like it's going to pay off or whatever it may be. Um, yeah, I think that's the reason I haven't taken those steps forward.
Gotcha. And what makes you feel like doing something like this wouldn't pay off?
I guess there's just like
Again, I'm just probing. You know, he gives me something. It's kind of vague. It doesn't. I don't really understand what he means. Instead of asking some like crazy scripted question or like okay, asking some off topic thing, I just follow up. Like, what do you mean? Tell me more. In what way? Can you expand on that? Super simple questions, but get me all the information that I need. And that's how most of my sales calls go. I just ask the first question of the call, like what has you here on the call, or like what are you kind of looking for help with, and then I basically just ask follow-up questions after that. That's how the best salespeople do it. Is just ask follow-up questions, probe into what they're saying, and you will get all the information that you need. This guy is now he starts opening up about like what's going on truly, and we get deeper with him.
like the what's the word? Um, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to find the word. I can't remember what it is.
Skepticism.
Yeah, skepticism. That's the word.
Okay, got it. Yeah, man. I hear it from a lot of people, especially like young guys, when it comes to getting into space. It's obviously like doing entrepreneurship, you know, and doing something like. And now basically what happens is I basically just go into handling his fear because this guy is skeptical and he's scared of taking action. And what someone like this needs to understand, and basically like how I think about this to give you guys some like actual principles here is that I've taken so many calls, I've spoken to so many people, so I know trends. I've seen trends from okay, this is probably what's gonna happen. You know, like he's a young guy, he has big goals, he hasn't taken action. I understand that this guy, the reason why he's not where he wants to be is because he's scared of taking the actions required to get to his goal. He's holding the belief right now that, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to achieve all these different things. But when it comes to me actually investing in myself, investing in a coaching program to learn the skills required to achieve my goal, and I start to feel uncomfortable, I start to feel a bit scared, I start to feel a bit nervous, those emotions are bad, and when I feel that way I pull back and I stay inside of my comfort zone. That's how his life has looked like for the last 5 years. You know, he has goals, visions, things that he wants to achieve, but when he feels scared, when he feels nervous, when it's time to actually take action on one of those things to achieve those goals, he always pulls back. So the belief that I need to shift now, the thing that I need to kind of make happen in his head is I need to get him to realize that in order to get to his goals, in order to become an entrepreneur and achieve all these things that he wants to achieve, he needs to be scared. He needs to be fine with going through that emotion. It's like walking in fear, walking in uncertainty. That's the belief that I'm trying to shift now. So basically what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be using like personal stories, asking him multiple different questions to reframe that belief, and basically just get him from thinking that fear is bad, nervous, uncertainty is bad, and I should move away from it, to getting into a place of thinking I should move towards fear. Fear is good. It's going to get me to where I want to go. Because if he believes that, then when he gets scared at the end of this call, when he hears the price and he's like, "Shit, I'm scared of buying this program," he's going to remember that. If I do a good job here in the discovery part and really get him to understand that fear is the way, that the way to actually get to where he wants to go is by moving through fear, then he's not gonna let that hold him back at the end. We're pre-handling that whole fear objection, or at least planting a seed. What you're gonna see here in this call, I'm gonna play it for you guys in a second, but you will see in a second that at the end the same thing comes back up. He gets scared at the end. The money is tight. He doesn't know if he wants to do it and things like that. And then we can just kind of revert back, because I already planted the seed here in the beginning, because we already talked about the fear here. So that's why it's so important to talk about this in the beginning of the call, because then you're planting the seed. It's not going to make sense for him to, if we have this whole conversation about fear, how he needs to step up, be a man, overcome these feelings and act in spite of being scared. We have all this conversation. He admits that he wants to do it. He's ready to overcome the fear in the beginning. It's not going to make sense for him to come at the end and Alex, I'm scared, so I'm not going to do this. Because of the consistency bias. He's going to be one appearing consistent at the end of the call as he was in the beginning of the call. So super key lesson there is that if you talk about stuff in the beginning of the call and overcome them here, there's going to be ways to close them at the end here. And as I said, this also comes with experience, because I've taken so many calls. I can kind of just observe who this person is and what beliefs that I need to shift for the specific person. And this is also a big thing that we work on inside of my one-on-one mentorship. Yes, quick plug for you guys. In my inner circle, all of the guys that I work with, we review their calls. I show people exactly what you need to adjust in terms of your specific skill set and things like that. And I basically help guys to either as a beginner get trained up and get into their first role, or if you're already in sales, get into a better role in remote high ticket sales and review your calls, master your skills and things like that. So if you're interested in getting into sales, click the link down below. But let's keep going here. So let's skip forward a bit, online we work out. And it's gonna, a less guaranteed path to take, because this is what I talk about. Is the reframe about being an entrepreneur is scary. It requires you to take steps outside of your comfort zone and do things that you're not comfortable with doing. So that's pretty straightforward there. Then what I do is I basically just pitch the entire program. Once I've gotten his commitment, I basically talk about this stuff, about how this is gonna be a different path, how he's gonna have to think in a different way. And super important thing, I get his commitment that he's going to be willing to do what it's going to take to achieve his goals. So let's jump to that part. And that's so important, because once he says that, it's going to be way less likely for him to back out here at the end. So let's check this out here. Overcome that and then come back in the future and do it when you're ready to do it. Make sense?
Yeah, it does. Not many of them.
Right. There's always a bit of doubt, uncertainty, and in most cases, a lot of fear, a lot of discomfort before you take it. I was talking about the uncertainty and things like that, and I'm getting his buy-in here as well. I'm asking, instead of just talking at him, I'm saying this stuff and I'm asking him, does that make sense? Do you agree? Throughout, to make sure he's actually bought into what I'm saying, because the thing you don't want to do, you don't want to just talk at someone and not get their confirmation. The decision. And then afterwards, it works out, you get good results. The point you can scale this to 5K a month for your remote, achieve those goals that you have. Obviously, we already talked about right now, first thing is you have to be willing to take action. So a bit of uncertainty, it's going to be scary, it's going to be uncomfortable to do. That's the prerequisite, the first thing you have to go through to actually make it happen. But then from there, man, it's pretty simple, because working with us, what we do is really just eliminating. Yeah, so that's basically it. This is a very long call, by the way. You guys will notice that this is an extremely long call, because this guy had so many objections, and also because we had to figure out some stuff with the payment. This guy did not have all the funds to be able to do it, so we had to kind of get creative with a payment. Not a payment plan, but basically just getting creative with credit, and getting him in credit so you can actually get into the program. So let's jump forward here. This is basically the discovery. Now I got him tied down that this guy is willing to take action. He's willing to overcome their fear. He needs to make change. He can't just keep going and waiting. That's the most important thing that we kind of got out of this discovery part here. Is someone has been stuck for 5 years. He hasn't taken action. We need to get him to clearly draw a line in the sand and clearly commit that I'm going to make a change today. Because otherwise, this call is going to go exactly like the last 5 years of his life gone. He's going to be on this call, get scared at the end when he hears the price, hop off the call, not take action, and stay stuck. So we need to really break him out of that loop, which we've done that. We're planted the seed now. So let's jump forward here. All right, so now we're right past the pitch here. I just presented to him exactly how the program works, how we're going to help him go from his current situation to his ideal situation. And that's how you should always pitch on a high-ticket sales call. So basically what we're doing right now, I'm basically just getting his buy-in that he feels that the solution that I presented for him is the right thing for him to do. That's super important. You never want to just drop the price on someone without knowing that they actually want to do the program. You want to really get their buy-in, make sure that they're committed to the process. Because otherwise what's going to happen if you just drop the price on someone that you don't actually know if they're certain about the program, then you don't actually know if they're unsure about the program, if they're unsure about the price, if they don't have the money. There's a bunch of different variables. But if you make sure that this guy is 100% certain about this program is the right solution for him before you drop price, then it's way easier to handle the objections afterwards. Because when then really like the only objections you're gonna have is about the money and it's figuring out logistics with money. You know, it makes it so much simpler to handle. So that's what I'm doing right now, is getting his commitment that he wants to do the program. He feels like everything that I pitched to him in terms of like how we're actually gonna help him get to where I want to go, that he feels that that's the right fit for him.
So on your end, do you feel like this aligns with you? Do you feel like this is what you want to do?
I do.
Yeah, man. Got it. So if you feel confident about it, and do you have any more questions on the process?
I don't think so. I don't think that I do. No.
Do you want to talk about like the next steps and how to get started with it?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I will give it that.
Cool. Now it's time for price drop. Actually presenting the price of the program.
Here's the next steps. Get into it. Super simple. 3 steps. So first thing you do is that you process the investment with me. I take care of all enrollment. Then we book in with your first session with your coach right away. So done with them. Start building out your game plan for the next 30, 60, 9 days. And then you come in, we give you access to the training, to the program. You come in, you start training up, start working on your skill set, and you start the process towards landing your position. Scaling this to 5K per month, and ultimately 6K per year, 6 figures per year. It's a one-time investment of 10K USD. But what Richard likes to do on these calls is right to reward people who are action takers, because we always see that those are the most successful students. So on this call, we take a discount and we can achieve for 8.8K USD instead. How does that land with you?
Notice one thing here is like I really slow down my tone at the end. You know, I present the price, drop it, and like how does that land with you? Very calm. You don't want to be like a lot of people I see. They're like talking super fast at this point. Then it's like dropping the price and then they just like shut up. You want to like slow down your tone, relax, because that's gonna allow them to really just like kind of take a deep breath and relax. You don't want them to be like stressed and like rushed at this point. You know, I just drop the price.
It's like I want to do it so bad, but I don't have the money to do that right now. So
no worries, man. I appreciate you being transparent about it, because like I mentioned at the beginning of the call,
yeah,
we can usually or pretty much do it.
I am. I'm sure I want to do it. Yeah.
Basically, like his objection here is like I don't have the money to do it. You know, so first thing I do, instead of just going into handling like a payment plan and like getting him a way to do the program, what I do instead is I focus on getting or like basically getting confirmation from him that like other than the money, if the money wasn't a problem, is he 100% sure that he wants to do this? The reason why I do that is because I don't want to handle like a money objection and potentially like 3 other objections. You know, I want to make sure that money is the only thing that's holding him back before I handle it. Again, it's the same thing like I mentioned before. It makes it so much simpler when you isolate the objections. Other than the money, are you 100% sure you want to do this? Get his confirmation, get a certain yes from him, then we move into handling the money. Because the thing with this guy, it wasn't just the money. He was actually unsure about some other things. It was still fear. You will see this in a second. He starts giving objections about talking to like a family member in a second here. Let's keep going.
Okay, gotcha. How many cards do you have right now? For a lot of people, it's really uncomfortable to like try to fill out. Like if we can make something work.
Just before I do anything, I think it might take a conversation with my father.
So yeah, there you go. So we went through like I asked him like, okay, so do you want to do this money aside? And we went through like his situation, what it looks like financially for him right now. And then after that, I asked him, okay, so if we can figure this out financially, are you still sure you want to do it? Ask that to make sure, like again, just isolate that this is the only thing. And then now the fear comes up again. He's scared, so he wants to go talk with his dad, you know, which is fine. The way that I handle that, again, is just fear. He's externalizing. He's wanting to make this decision, but it's easier for him to have like a parent, someone else, to just put the responsibility on. You know, it's easier to just do what your dad tells you to do than to make your own decisions. That's the same thing for everyone, you know. So now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to handle that basically it's like a fear objection. He's externalizing the responsibility of making this decision on someone else. I just need him to kind of realize that putting this on his dad is not fair. It's not going to help him. It's not going to serve him. He needs to make his own decisions.
So I might have to have a conversation with him about it before I do anything.
Gotcha. Why that?
Just because I know he's
again super relaxed, chill energy, nothing. I'm not gonna like switch up on him and like you're stupid or anything, you know. It's like relax, got it. Okay, cool. Why is that?
He's very skeptical about it. So yeah, he's skeptical about it. So I wanted to get his opinion on it because my dad. It's like that would be a good thing to do.
Okay, got it. So what makes you feel that's a good thing to do if he's skeptical about
it? Well, I live here, so it's kind of a situation of like.
Quick note: San Pellegrino is the ultimate water to drink if you want to close a lot of deals in high ticket sales.
I'm not gonna like.
Not sponsored.
I don't know, man. That's a hard question.
Can I give you some like thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because the thing is, man, like I just, like when I started this as well, like when I came, because I did the exact same.
Yeah, like first thing is like I just asked the question that kind of popped in my head, like if your dad is skeptical, why would you go and ask your dad about doing this? Like it makes no sense. Like it's like going and asking, I don't know, go and ask someone that is guaranteed to say no if you should do it. Like why would you even do that? It makes zero sense logically, you know? He's just scared. So basically what I do right now, you'll hear me basically reframe and like put the responsibility back on him. Like, hey, this is your decision to make, man. Like you need to step up and decide about this yourself.
Same thing. When I started this, I was like, I went to my parents, I told them about this, and they're like,
I do this with a personal story now. So I just basically share like my own experience of doing the same thing because I actually experienced that myself. You know, when I started my first business, I went to my parents. They were like, "You're stupid. Why are you trying to start your own business? Why are you investing 2K or like 3K into a coaching program?" I basically just tell him that, you know, because I can relate to it, and he's gonna resonate with a personal story. So that's a good thing you guys can do is like use personal stories. You don't want to use that like throughout the entire call, but at times like this, you know, when he's nervous, scared, you can share that because that's gonna really like allow him to connect with you and like feel heard as well.
like this is a scam, you should do it, because they have different beliefs, you know, like they're growing up in a different era with like the online space not being as like present as it is right now. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to usually be supportive. They have different beliefs, they don't think it's real oftentimes, and it's very hard for them to like actually see what you see in your eyes. And the thing, like I understand, because obviously it's always more comfortable to have like someone else supporting you, you know? It's always more comfortable to have like a family member, friends, someone who can be like by your side and like have them help you make the decision.
Yeah.
I totally get that, and I was saying for me as well, it's like comfortable to make your own decisions. But at the same time, and I also want to rely with the fact that like it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to go to him and like ask him to help you make this decision when he doesn't know exactly like the vision that you have, exactly maybe like how important this is to you, like the specifics of that, and he doesn't have all the context about how this industry works. Like you going to him and like, getting his support in making this decision is something he can say or do that's gonna make you more confident about doing this. Ultimately, no matter like how hard or like how comfortable it is, it's gonna come down to your own decision to make to decide on what you want to do to create the future that you have for yourself.
Yeah.
Like your parents might have like different goals, different visions for your life than you have, and then you have to decide like what type of vision you actually want to follow, and like who type of decisions you want to make, and based on your own opinion or based on someone else's opinion. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
So that's obviously, I understand is that you want to speak with him and like feel more confident about making a decision, but then like speaking with him is not going to make you more confident. It's still going to come down to you having to decide to do this or not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
So here's what I think we should do. I think the best thing for
Yeah, like this is like textbook stuff. Like I basically I did my reframe. I told him like, okay, ultimately like he's not going to be able to make you more certain about this. It's going to come down to your responsibility. I say that, and then it's like, does that make sense? Do you agree? He's like, yeah, obviously this guy is really like accepting what I'm putting down. He's like, yeah, I agree, it makes sense 100%. And he just kept giving me these objections, you know, like I'm scared, I'm nervous, and then it became about the money. So we just kind of went back and forth for a bit. Eventually we figured out the money. I helped him get approved for credit to be able to do it. I got approved for credit, and then eventually he paid the entire thing and paid it off, $8,800, closed the deal. So this is me selling for an actual influencer, me selling for another person as a high ticket closer, a business, one of the big guys in this industry, in the online space. And I think the biggest takeaways for you guys from this call, I'll keep going here a bit so you guys can see a bit more. But basically, like first thing is just like my energy, how I carry myself. I have a very like neutral energy throughout the entire call. I'm not going to be like super hyped, or I don't get aggressive either when he gives me any objections. I'm just very like relaxed, very neutral. But I have a very strong leadership energy at the same time. This guy trusts me, you know, because I'm kind of leading him through the call. When he says something that doesn't make sense, I challenge him on that immediately. I have very high standards on this call, which is a super, super important thing for you to get to high levels of commissions as a high ticket closer, is you need to be a leader. And that all starts with you leading yourself in your own life. That's why I talk about mindset and like habits and things like that all the time on my channel. It's the boring stuff, but it's what makes you a very high performing closer. When you can lead yourself and wake up at time, go work out, go like just hit the goals that you set out for yourself, you're going to show up in a completely different way on high ticket sales calls. So much more conviction, so much more certainty. People are going to trust you more. People are going to be more likely to buy from you. All that stuff is because of like you being a dial-in person in your own life. You're speaking with that leadership energy, you know. And that's what I'm doing pretty well on this call as well. As you can hear, this guy right now, I ask him something. He's like, "Yeah, I agree. It makes sense." And he gets quiet, and I just tell him what we should do. You know, I'm like, "Okay, so here's what we should do."
for you, man, considering what you told me here with the situation and everything that you're in terms of like financial, what it looks like. I think the best thing for you and what most of our students do as well is by leveraging interest-free.
So basically now we get into like credit, figuring like the payment, because I basically like lead him through the call again. He's like unsure. I handled the objection about like him talking with his dad, and now I'm just like we move on with the process. You know, I'm just like kind of dragging him through the process. I'm leading him through this call to make this happen for him. And this is so important because like this guy starts really like believing and like trusting in me having his best interest at heart because I'm challenging him. I'm this leader on the call who's willing to call out his BS, holding him to high standards, which gets him to a point where he's willing to really like open up with me, you know, and willing to just like kind of follow my lead as well on the call. So that's super important. More like energy thing is like developing that leadership energy, being a strong, confident person in your calls. It's going to allow you to get people to trust you more, get people to open up, and obviously close deals as well. So the rest of the call now, this is super long because we're basically just figuring out like the payment, getting him approved for some credit, taking payment, and then what happens later on the call is he gets scared again when he's about to give me the digits of the credit card and actually make the payment. So I basically just tie him back down to what we talked about before. And the biggest takeaway there is it's so much easier to close this guy when he gets scared at the end because of the fact that we already had this conversation right here of him being scared, uncomfortable, nervous in the past, and that's holding him back. But he's ready to make change. He's ready to actually do things differently now. All that stuff, we can just use that at the end when he gets scared. So that's really this call. $8,800 paid in full deal. Me closing for influencer. Hopefully you found this valuable. If you want one-on-one coaching from me to learn how to sell like this on an offer, how to land and basically get placed on offers like this, we can make commissions of 5, 10, 15K a month and be a part of the team of killers. Click the link down below. You can apply to join my inner circle. Basically, I teach the stuff. We review calls, we give you feedback, I place you on offers, all that stuff to perform as a high ticket closer, and appointment setter as well if you want to do that. So apply on there if you think that you want to get into this. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram. I reply to all DMs over there. Thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you found this valuable, and I'll see you guys very, very soon in the next video. Take care.